Funding for the Maddy Report is made possible by grants from BNSF Railway, moving our economy for 160 years. Harris Ranch Resort, providing Western hospitality and award-winning cuisine. The Wonderful Company, committed to growing a better world. Comcast, connecting people to the moments and experiences that matter most. Producers Dairy, nourishing one life at a time. The Spencer Family, and Fresno State Associated Students Incorporated, students serving students. The Maddy Report is also made possible thanks to contributions from Cook Land Company, E&J Gallo Winery, the Fresno Association of Realtors, and California Manufacturing and Engineering Company. From the Maddy Institute, the Public Policy Institute for the Valley's 4 public universities, this is the Maddy Report with Executive Director of the Maddy Institute, Blake Zante.
Welcome to the Maddy Report. I'm Blake Zante, Executive Director of the Maddy Institute. Today we're discussing public policy in Kings County with Chairman of the Kings County Board of Supervisors, Doug Verboon. Supervisor Verboon is a 4th-generation farmer and businessman and has served as a Kings County Supervisor since 2011. Supervisor Verboon, thanks for joining the Maddy Report today. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate
it. Supervisor Verboon, you're a lifelong resident of Hanford. You've been deeply involved in serving Kings County, including serving 16 years as a trustee of the Pioneer Elementary School District. Talk a little bit about your motivation to run for Kings County Supervisor and maybe how you got started in public service originally.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. A good question. I was a young kid. I had kids that went to Pioneer School, and I was probably about 24 years old, and the trustee there at the time says time for the next generation to take over. It took me a few years, but I ran for public office in the Pioneer School Board as a trustee in 1993. I was 30 years old, did 16 years there, and decided to run for Kings County Board of Supervisors. My wife worked for the district attorney and said it's time for someone to come in. The community felt that they weren't being represented properly, so I ran for the office.
Now, and talk about how your background has shaped your priorities for District 3 in Kings County. Your professional experience, some of your background, maybe growing up in Kings County. How has that sort of influenced your view and your governing style and your policy priorities on the Kings County Board of Supervisors?
Good question. So, as a kid, we had supervisors come around asking for money for the campaigns, and we had Dom Ferruzzi come by one day, talk to my grandfather, and ask for a donation. I asked my grandfather what he did, and I kind of followed it from that point on. I was probably about 11, 12 years old. But my personal life, I'm a 4th-generation farmer. We borrow money, we have to grow a crop, we have to pay it back, so you learn how to do business. I also own a shopping center in Lemoore, which I manage and take care of. I've had that for 20 years. And I build custom cars as well. So I met a lot of different people, different makes and models of people and personalities. And it's kind of cool to get them all to agree with you and talk to you and tell you the issues. I know when I was a school board, I got a lot of phone calls that had county issues. And so people trusted me to get them answers. And so I felt it was the next phase of my life to run for Board of Supervisors, so I did so.
And your district, you mentioned, having ties to both Hanford and Lemoore. Your district covers both of those cities. What are some of the issues you've worked on during your tenure on the Board of Supervisors? And we'll dive into specifics, but just generally speaking.
Well, when I ran for office the very first time, I ran for water. I wanted to stop the exit of groundwater leaving our county. But during my campaign, High Speed Rail showed up, and they were going through Kings County, so that occupied most of my first 10 years. Issues with the city of Lemoore, that's a good community. They take care of themselves. They got a volunteer fire department. I go and help whenever I can. I help Lemoore Naval Air Station. We have friends of joint land use with Lemoore Naval Air Station to show that we support the Navy being there. I work with Tachioka Indians with their tribe to get them things they need as well. City of Hanford, I work well with. I let the city council make decisions, and I go only join in when I'm asked to. We did get an automatic aid agreement with the city of Hanford with the fire department to help lower the ISO ratings for the residents in Hanford. That was a big deal, and it was hard to do.
Great. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. This is the Maddy Report. Welcome back to the Maddy Report. Supervisor Verboon, you were recently reelected as chair of the Board of Supervisors for a second time, and this hasn't happened in 17 years. One of your colleagues decided to not, take over as chair. What was the process behind this decision, and what was sort of the reasoning behind it?
It's unusual for that to happen. Generally, we switch every year. But Supervisor Robinson felt that it was time to keep calm in our community. Our GSA, Mid-Kings GSA, failed, and they walked away from it, so we had to form a new GSA. And our first meeting we had as the Mid-Kings GSA, we had people mad, and they wanted to sue. We have it under control now where no one even shows up because they trust us. So we want to bring calm to the community. So Supervisor Robinson felt that if I stayed as chair, it would bring calm to the community, and he can be chair next year. And so therefore, that's all we did. And I'm very honored that they trust me to do that.
And speaking of Mid-Kings GSA, you were also appointed as chair of the Mid-Kings GSA, which is governed by your fellow supervisors and also some officials from Hanford. Given the state's scrutiny of the Tulare Lake groundwater subbasin, what's Kings County's role in responding to concerns over water management?
It's hard to manage it from a Board of Supervisors standpoint. For years, the ditch tenders and irrigation companies, they don't want local politics to be involved. But we had to step in to get it under our control, to get the Mid-Kings back in order. As far as controlling the water, it's difficult because you have farmers that have 150,000 acres and farmers that have 15 acres. And it's hard to find that balance. So we're going to try to find that balance in our community. We've turned it over to our local farmers to come up with an ad hoc committee to bring us ideas that they can work with in the future to run their own farm. I don't think it should be in government control. I think government needs to stay out of it. There's too much government overreach. I don't mind being in charge myself, but once it's under control and we do have a GSP that's accepted by the state, we will back out of it and let the growers handle the issue at that time.
And speaking of a little bit, you answered this sort of, but just more generally speaking, and this sort of applies to the whole state. What role do local government officials play in balancing groundwater regulations with the needs of agricultural communities? Certainly here in the Valley, it's very important. But should local officials be more involved, less involved, in your view? What do you have to say to that?
I think government needs to stay out of it. I understand that we have overdrafted our groundwater, and I see the reasons why it happened. Therefore, I came up with an ordinance that made it illegal to sell your groundwater out of the county. The hardest part we have with water is surface water, which we need to replenish our groundwater, is a traded commodity. It's a personal property right, which gives you the right to sell your water if need to. And so in my ordinance, I made it if you sold your surface water, you can't pump groundwater. That caused a divide in our community, but it protects our natural resources for the future. So that part, I think the government needed to step in because we're eating each other. You had the larger growers taking over for the smaller growers that had no way to protect themselves. And so I think me as an elected official, I protect those that need to be protected, such as anybody 600 acres or less that don't have a team or a staff to work on the issues. They don't have someone in the office, filling out paperwork. They need someone to represent them at the local level. And I tried to get another department at my county, which is water and natural resources, so they have a place to go. Large growers have a place to go. Some of them have as many as 17 water attorneys. We don't have access to that, so we need to protect the small grower, and that's where I think local government comes in.
And what are some of those alternatives or solutions that are being proposed by local government, to help some of these smaller local farmers? I know you said government should, generally stay out of it, but that's not the reality we're in at this current stage. So, are there any solutions or alternatives that are being explored at the current moment?
We left it up to the growers to come up with a plan that worked for them. I'm a farmer on my board, but I'm only one of five. So I feel I can help them come up with a plan, but it's not fair for someone that has no clue of how a farm works to what they should do with their water. So let the farmers come up with their own plan, and we can oversee it, make sure we submit that to the state to get a plan in place.
And lastly, before we go to a quick break, Kings County Farm Bureau's legal battle against the State Water Board. How might that, to the extent you're able to talk about it, because I know it is ongoing, how might that shape future groundwater regulations in California if their challenge is successful?
Well, I hope their challenge is successful, and I thank the Farm Bureau for doing that. It needed to be done. They were able to get it done. They need money to fund it, but local government has never won a lawsuit with the state. So I don't want anybody to get their hopes up. My advice to the local grower is to put meters on your wells, monitor what you do, because you may not be the problem. I don't believe that the local farmer that pumps water out of the ground and puts it on top of the ground is the one causing the problem. I think the exit of our groundwater has caused that. So overregulation from the state, if they regulate the right people, that's great, but they're going to go for the low-hanging fruit first, which is a small grower, and we can't defend ourselves. So there's where we should step in right now and protect the small grower. And the Farm Bureau, that's just a temporary hold on us paying the state. So if we give the state for our groundwater we pump out, pay money to the state for the groundwater we pump out, it doesn't help us. It doesn't help at all. We need money to help run our GSAs, and giving it to the state is just a waste of money.
Thank you. We'll be right back after this break. This is the Maddy Report. Welcome back. Supervisor Verboon, I'm saving all of the fun topics for you today. We talked about water, and now I want to move on to transportation and more specifically, high-speed rail. You've been a previous critic of high-speed rail. I know very outspoken on this. But however, you've also now recently said that the infrastructure is already in place and completed. And so now at this point, we need to finish the project, if I'm paraphrasing you correctly. And so the Trump administration has said it might consider pulling federal funds for high-speed rail.
This is a tough one because, they've been here for 17 years since it passed. Kings County is very unique to high-speed rail. When the voters passed it in 2008, it was really simple. 2 hours and 40 minutes, 220 mile an hour, LA to San Francisco, 130-mile segment, independent operating segment that's on existing transportation corridors that is electrified and not subsidized. They are not doing any of that. So we fought them on their language at Kings County to make them be accountable to the language of the Prop 1A. And had the state supported us on that, we wouldn't be in a position we are today. There might have been some mismanagement of the funds. The project should have been completed at 2017 in a 130-mile segment. Nothing is complete. Our governor goes out every 6 months and takes a layered track and drives a spike in it and acts like he's done something. There's no track anywhere. I believe it's been beneficial to the community that people that work on it. It's another source of income. Our county is really lacking in income when it comes to outside money because we're used to ag money and it's been depleted with no water. But I think we need to finish up the segment that's already started. Don't leave anything unfinished in my community. I want them out of my community. I want the rails finished. We sued them for 10 years. I had a really good relationship with the chairman of the board, which was Dan Richard. He worked with me. We started talking about things other than rail till we get along. We didn't get along at all at first. And, we were able to get a station in Kings County that wasn't there before in our lawsuit. I got wider overpasses to make it safer to cross overpasses. You need to finish it. And since I've been against high-speed rail, now I'm the chairman of the board for the San Joaquin Valley JPA, which manages Amtrak San Joaquin. So I think we can utilize that segment with Amtrak, make it beneficial, have a better on-time performance. And then if someone like Brightline wants to come in at a later date and put a high speed on it, they're more than welcome to. But I think it has to be three sources of money, state, federal, and private. And so, they use a lot of cap and trade dollars around it now. Federal government's talking about pulling $4 billion. They need to be accountable, and they need to show this people that they haven't wasted their money.
Do you think high-speed rail, you did talk about that we hope it gets completed. Do you think it will still be completed in the long run? Or do you think it's time to consider, some folks have brought up alternative investments, if it is never complete?
We're at a dire time right now where we have not enough water storage, not enough water infrastructure. I would love to see some of that done now. We can come back to high-speed rail anytime. They've proven it's not necessary to get done on time. We can build it at any time. 150 years from now, it might be the best thing for us. But right now, water is the best thing for us. Our population has grown. Our infrastructure has not grown. We need to focus on that right now.
I think it probably will get built, eventually, whether it's in 5 years or 10 years. I think at this point we're so far down the road. Um, what can you talk a little bit more? You did talk about jobs and some of the economic development that it brings to Kings County, the station, but more specifically, I mean, do you see the rail project benefiting Kings County residents when it is built, even if it is delayed at this point in the construction process?
Well, when the thought came out about building high-speed rail, it wasn't, Kings County wasn't talked about. We were just a pass-over county. There was no benefit to us at all. The only thing that we have a benefit now is we have a station that being built in our county. There was 25 stations being built. We were number 27, so someone had to give up theirs. I got one in a lawsuit. Does it benefit Kings County in the long run? Probably not. We live in a low to moderate income community. It's a family-based culture with the Hispanic people, Hispanic heritage. They travel as a family all the time. It's wonderful to see, but they cannot afford a ticket. We use Amtrak for them to ride it because it's a cheap way to travel up and down the state at low cost, and it's subsidized. We're not going to get that with high-speed rail because it can't be subsidized, and it's going to be expensive. And if you travel with your family and the kids, you're not going to be able to afford it unless you go somewhere. And right now, not everybody wants to go to Madera on high speed. We can get there in an hour on our car. So it needs to be finished, but let's focus on what's important right now, which is water.
Thank you. We'll be right back after this break. This is the Maddy Report. Welcome back. Supervisor Verboon, we've covered a lot of topics today, and I really appreciate your time and willingness to answer these questions. Let's talk, more generally. What do you see as the most pressing challenges facing Kings County in the coming years? We probably just covered two big ones, but what role should local government play in ensuring, the region remains resilient and competitive for future economic development?
I think the number one thing that we need to focus on is a consistent flow of water to our county so the farmers can have water to farm, both the dairymen and the farmers. The inconsistency has caused a diversion in our livelihoods in our county. We need to keep farmers live and pay taxes. We have 153,000 people that live in my community, and they make about, on farming, they make $2.3 billion on farming income. You take that and divide it in the community, that's a stronghold. We don't want to see that go away. We farm less ground now today than we did back in the 70s, and we're still producing more and more products for the world. We need to focus on that, and economic development will follow that after we get that secured.
What are some of the biggest crops that are grown in Kings County?
Dairy is number one with milk. Tomatoes are up there, cotton, corn, walnuts, almonds. All almonds are above walnuts. Got peaches, plums, prunes, nectarines. We have everything growing right here, garlic. There's a lot of things you can grow year-round in Kings County, and we need a constant flow of water to get that done. And I'm just impressed by the west side, what they can do with that ground. It's great ground. But, they built that west side on water from the Delta, and then when they pull the water away, they revert to pumping, and that hurts us. So we need to get them a sustainable flow of water, and in that way we can restrict our restrictions on pumping in our small areas.
And what are some of the other, big economic drivers in Kings County? Certainly agriculture is at the forefront, but what are some of the other sectors that contribute to the economic growth of the
Lemoore
county?
Naval Air Station is big. They bring a lot of money into our community. Even the veterans bring a lot of money in our community. A lot of people come and they spend their lifetime in the military, and they end up retiring in the Fresno, Hanford area, Visalia. And so them being here is a plus. And in the teachers union, we have a lot of teachers in our community. That's a big deal. But the number one driver is ag and everything to do with ag.
Your experience and dedication to the community have really been central to your work as a supervisor. What message do you have? We talked about a lot of these big issues, right? And folks may be wondering, what does the future look like What message do you have for residents who maybe are concerned about the future of water or transportation, economic development in Kings County?
Well, if you farm and you don't have surface water, you need to acquire some surface water because you need to replace what you take out of the ground. It's expensive. The value is gone way too high to use it for farming, but that will keep you whole. We've had a lot of larger larger farmers sell water outside of our county, and you can't get it back once you sell it. So that just keeps the economic growth going when you have water to keep farming and keep the state out of our business and keep local government out of our business so that we can continue to raise a crop and do well. We have enough restrictions already. We don't need any more.
And how can folks maybe watching who are Kings County residents get in touch with the Board of Supervisors or with county government if they have an issue or they have something going on that pertains to the county?
We have a webpage, countyofkings.com. Our phone numbers and our addresses and our pictures are on there too. Every Tuesday we live stream our meetings on Teams, and we're available all the time. I answer my phone 24/7, and I'm always available.
Great. Well, Supervisor Verboon, really appreciate your time.
Thank you
for coming on the Maddy Report. Thank you for joining the Maddy Report. To learn more about the Maddy Institute, visit maddyinstitute.com. What makes a community thrive? How do we bridge the gap between government and policy and the people it impacts? The Maddy Institute was founded to answer questions like these, to create a link between government and the citizens it serves, and to inspire a new generation of leaders dedicated to public service. In 1999, the California legislature unanimously established the Maddy Institute in honor of former California State Senator Kenneth L. Maddy. Senator Maddy was widely respected for his commitment to bipartisan solutions and his dedication to the people of California's Central Valley. Known for his ability to work across the aisle, Senator Maddy believed that effective government begins with respectful dialogue, evidence-based policy, and a commitment to the common good. Today, the Maddy Institute continues his legacy. Our mission is threefold. 1, to promote more effective and inclusive government. 2, to encourage civic engagement. And 3, to conduct research on key issues impacting the Central Valley. Through these efforts, we aim to educate, inspire, and empower the next generation of public servants and community leaders. One of the most impactful ways we fulfill this mission is through our internship programs. Each year, the Maddy Institute provides opportunities for students from the Central Valley to work in legislative offices, both in Sacramento and Washington, D.C., as well as local government agencies. These internships give students real-world experience in policymaking, allow them to see government in action, and help them build the skills they need to make a difference in their communities. But the Maddy Institute isn't just for students. Through our civic engagement programs, we create opportunities for everyone to participate in the political process. From community forums to workshops, we bring people together to discuss important issues facing the Central Valley, like water management, air quality, economic development, and education. These events foster open dialogue, allowing citizens to engage directly with policymakers, experts, and others, creating a stronger and more informed community. And to ensure the public stays informed, the Maddy Institute produces the Maddy Report, a weekly public affairs broadcast that covers the latest issues impacting California. Each episode features interviews with lawmakers, journalists, and subject matter experts, providing insights and analysis on topics that matter to our region. Whether it's understanding new legislation or exploring solutions to local challenges, the Maddy Report is a trusted source of information for those who want to stay engaged. At the heart of everything we do is a belief that good governance requires an informed and engaged public. From nurturing young leaders to fostering dialogue, the Maddy Institute is dedicated to creating a future where the people of the Central Valley can thrive. Join us as we continue Senator Maddy's legacy. Together, we can build a brighter future, one informed and engaged citizen at a time. The views expressed in the Maddy Report are those of the individuals participating in the program and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Maddy Institute. If you'd like to share your thoughts about today's episode of the Maddy Report, please visit our website at maddyinstitute.com.